Aloha everybody, hi, welcome to Spirit Chat today. We have a lot to talk about today. I wanted to do a Spirit Chat in here because we've had a lot of questions on the Facebook group regarding development of different abilities and where they're at and how it helps, and just a lot of confusion going on with people who have different psychic abilities. They don't know what to do with it. You know, they don't know if they can make it stronger. For instance, I have my computer down here so I can tell you guys a few things from questions I've had. I had a question, probably last week or something, of somebody who wanted to know, if you're an empath, can you become a very strong empath? I believe was her question. And, you know, how can you basically become strong? Can you strengthen your empathic skills? What people who are empaths, what has been happening is people are feeling like that they're dizzy, they're feeling like they're feeling faint, they're not feeling so good if they have these empathic skills. And yes, you can develop your empathic skills to where you are not feeling so faint, you're not feeling so dizzy and that sort of thing. So how I like to explain that to people is your psychic abilities are like a muscle. So the more that you use them, the more that you learn the proper techniques, then you will strengthen your energy and you will strengthen this psychic ability, whatever it is that your ability may have. And that's really, really important. So for instance, the other thing that you want to think about is, let's say that you go to the gym and you're working out and you're training and you are doing improper training. And so you're not working the proper groups, the proper muscle groups the way that you're supposed to. It doesn't really help you develop very well. Your muscles don't develop like they should develop. So it's really important, just like if you're going to the gym to work on your physical body, that when you learn to work on your spiritual body, you learn to work with it correctly. You learn how to develop these skills correctly, because if you don't learn how to do it correctly, it's not like you're making any of your energy field stronger, you're not making your psychic senses stronger, you're just messing around with them, and then it can be very confusing on how to utilize them, what to do with any of this information. So how this also works is, when you are developing your psychic senses, your energy field around you does get stronger. So you can go from having like a weak type of energy field around you to a very strong bubble. And that's where we want to get you guys to, is to where you have a strong bubble, that your strength of your own energy is very buff, kind of like very strong. The strength is there. If you don't learn to develop that, the strength isn't there. You can get dizzy, or you can get like feeling like you might be under, you know, what people call psychic attacks or different things such as that, which I don't really believe in that the way that some people believe in that. So, you know, it's really important to develop that. And the way that you develop that is, unfortunately, going to take longer than this video. So I do have some things in that Energy Vampires book that you can go to my Keys to the Spirit World and download. Sorry, my nose is itchy. You can go download that, and there's some protection stuff in there, how to strengthen that bubble of energy that's around you. That's really important, and that's a good place for you to start. But I'm also going to be teaching a lot of these things in my classes. Like I said, that class is going to be ending in 3 days or 4 days. It's on the 23rd, so I will be teaching a lot of that stuff. We had another question in here, somebody recently, let me find it really quickly. It was basically, it was by Nicole. I answered here in the group, but I wanted to elaborate a little bit more. She said, when I meditate to communicate with my spirit guide, I always end up hearing with my inner ear lots of stuff coming at me all at once. It's all jumbled, and I rarely receive good messages. Why does this happen, and what can I do to control it better? It happens because when you start learning to develop, you tap into like a grid. So there's a grid of energy that flows on the other side, and there's energy that flows here. And so you can very easily tap into the energy here. But when you tap into the energy on the other side, you want to either, if you're going to connect in with your spirit guide, you're wanting to connect in specifically with that person and get on their specific wavelength or wave of energy. And so when you're just learning to develop that skill, you may tap into a whole bunch of them, which is going to be similar to having your radio station or your radio between a couple of stations, they're going to be kind of like a bunch of things, a bunch of signals and a bunch of noise coming in all at one time. And so that's very normal. It happens at the beginning stages. So with development and with you strengthening your energy and learning to hone in on a signal, because that's what you learn to do as you develop. When you learn to communicate with loved ones on the other side, when you learn to do mediumship work, when you learn to do communicate with your spirit guide, you actually learn to hone in onto a specific communication wave of a specific person. So kind of like you telephone them up. But that's a skill that also needs to be developed. These are things that don't come naturally. You develop and then you tap into the whole phone system, and then you got to learn how to dial up a person or a specific guide or something like that. So that's really normal. It happens when you're just learning to develop to that level. So in order to control it better, again, you need to learn how to develop it specifically, which is going to be a little bit long for this specific video. I also had another question by Tara, who basically, it's a long one, so I'm going to kind of skip over some of it. Basically says for years she pushed away gut feelings, woke up in the morning to a woman screaming so loud it scared her. She talked to one of her grandmothers and who had the gift that runs in her family, and she found out that she needed to do psychic protection, and she wasn't really sure where to go. Again, that book that I offer for free on energy vampires, that I offer for free on Keys to the Spirit World, that's a good place to go. But this can happen. It's not common, or not uncommon, I mean. So if you're starting to develop spiritually and you start to tap into the other side, first of all, you almost always will do it during a sleepy state, nap time, in the morning, in the middle of the night. That's super common because that's when your own soul and your own spirit raises the vibration to get really hone into the other side vibration or the other side energy. So you go astral travel at nighttime. That's when all that stuff happens. So your physical body and senses start to shut down. Your spiritual senses start to come up. And so that's when you tap into all that grid. So that is a really common time at night when you're sleeping in the middle of the night, which is not awesome because they do scary movies like that all the time, scare the living daylights out of people. So that being said, that's a normal thing. Again, psychic protection is important, so we're going to talk a little bit about that as you're doing any of these things. As you're developing your empath skills, as you are if you start to hear noises, if you're starting to want to talk to your spirit guides, if you're starting to hear things in your inner ear or outer ear, it is good to put up some psychic protection, because that means that your chakras are open. You become vulnerable to all energies, and they see you. So we become like a different color or a different vibration to those on the other side when we begin to raise our vibration on a spiritual level. So the higher that you raise and the more that you tap in, we become able to spot very easily from people from the other side. So they will then consistently come to those who they think can hear us or hear them, see them, who they can communicate with. They will specifically start to hone into you guys and try to communicate, try to attach into your energy field. So that's why it's important to practice psychic protection. I'm repeating myself, but that Energy Vampires book is a good one. But as you begin to develop and you open your chakras, again, that's another thing that we've talked about a lot. People open their chakras, they begin to stay open. So psychic development and the spiritual senses, as you're discovering them, the more that you discover them, the more that you pay attention to them, the more that things will naturally open. So once you start noticing that, oh, I can hear things a little bit, or I am feeling these energies or vibrations around me, or I'm sensing this from this person, or I feel like I'm having a premonition, the more that you acknowledge that happens, the higher your vibration is going to raise, and the more that you're going to tap into these things as well. So the more awareness that you're bringing into your life on a spiritual level, the more protection you also want to bring into your life on a spiritual level, because you open, you blossom, then you're open to all the energies around you. And so it's really important to do some of the grounding techniques that I talked to you about last Spirit Chat, I think it was. And there's some other things that you can do called the bubble meditation, which I really need to put up for you guys. You can do working with your angels. That's a really good energetic protection. You can sage, do clearings in your house. You can actually make like holy water stuff, which is a whole interesting thing to do around your house. It doesn't necessarily need to happen. You can use incense often. And I'm just trying to try to figure out what else I missed here. So incense, bubble meditation. I work a lot with my angels. Meditation is with your guides. You want to imagine white lights coming down, surrounding your body. You want to imagine that white light becoming very powerful during a meditation. You want to ask for only white light entities to be able to come through. No negative entities, only of white light. Those are the only ones that are allowed to have contact with you. Because, I guess contrary to popular belief, when you begin to develop, and I will get to some questions here soon so you guys can start asking questions, but when you begin to develop, not all spirits are going to have good intentions, and they are not all going to be from white light energy. You may very well tap into energetic beings that have not good intentions, that are not of white light. Oh, and I forgot to silence my phone. And so that's a really good reason to have some protection. So you want to make sure that you are aware that as you develop and tap in and say, hey, I want to talk to my spirit guides, I want to deal with my angels, I want to talk with grandma and grandpa on the other side, you want to be very aware that that may not always be the case, especially if you're newly developing. As you are more advanced developing, there's a lot of things, techniques that you can do to hone into that specific person, but you also become very aware in the feel and in things that you're hearing and seeing. You become very trained and very aware of if that's grandma and grandpa, if it's a specific person, if it feels like your guide. The awareness becomes, well, you become more advanced, so you know. But as you're beginning to develop, you may think it's grandma and grandpa, you may think it's auntie or uncle or something, but it may be another spirit messing with you. Yes, it happens. It's weird, but it does. And so we did have a question. Can you tell us more about the chakra at the base of the skull? I get headaches there. It's always around high energy times. That's, I'm finding as much as I'm teaching, the fifth chakra, which is, like you said, it's right at the base of your skull. That one tends to be the one that's open the most, and it's the most active, non-active, played with chakra that we have in our system when you're learning to develop psychically. And so that's the one that you will notice when you go to a movie or you go to, I don't know, to places with a lot of people. If you go to places that have negative feelings around them, you will notice you will have all kinds of weird feelings right here. The most common thing that I notice, it can feel very open. It can feel like you have a gaping hole right in the back of your neck, which is very strange. It can feel tingly. It can feel, like you said, where you get headaches. And that's your fifth chakra. That's the one that seems to be the most active as people develop on a psychic level. It's the one that they seem to be able to feel the most or notice the most. So it's really important to pay attention to that. We talked about this last week on the other Spirit Chat, but quick tips to closing that down, or if you're getting headaches or whatnot, which you might already do, is the water, cold, or like ice packs, something very, very cold out of your fridge. Put that on your back, or the back of your neck. It will immediately shut it down. It will immediately close it like a flower. So it opens like a flower. You don't want your chakras to stay open like a flower all the time. People practice to keep their stuff open all the time. It's not a good idea to stay open consistently. You have to close that down. It's like we talked about before. It's like if you open the front door to your house and leave it open, you don't want it to be open all the time. Why? Because you will also start feeling things on a physical level that might not be awesome. So you can feel different ailments that come in from other people. It can affect your own physical body. This is something that I want to talk to people about. I will probably do a spirit chat on my Facebook page, my main Facebook page, because I want to do some stuff with healers. I have a lot of people asking about healers, and or they are healers and they have some healing type questions. You know, the other thing that is interesting is everybody gets really excited about developing on a psychic level, or they're like, oh, I'd love to do what you do. I would love to you know, do psychic readings, or I would love to do this, or, you know, be able to hear spirits, or talk to my spirit guide. Well, number one, you can always talk to your spirit guide, whether you feel developed or not. So you can always talk to them. You can always ask for guidance. Before that you develop more, you can ask for signs, such as show me this color flower, or show me this specific color of whatever. Give me these types of signs by every time I hear or see this number or see this word or whatever. So you can always do communication, but people do need to realize it, again, opens up a whole another can of worms. I do know a lot of healers that have developed physical ailments over the years, and I believe it's from working with so many people's energy and not being able to separate it from their own energy, not be able to close down their chakras when they need to. These are really great people. A lot of them don't live an incredibly long time, so it's really important, not that, you know, you won't if you develop, but it's just important to be aware of how energies affect you. It's very important to work with energies and to make sure that you take them very seriously. So for instance, myself, on a daily basis, people ask me about this. Yes, when I run into people, I can read their energy, and I can read all kinds of things about them, whether I want to or not. It's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes I don't want to know about all these people. I don't really care what's going on in their life, and if they're having really bad struggles, I still see it all. I still get to see all the negative with the positive. So, you know, but I can't shut that part off. When you have an ability that you are born with, such as myself, and it runs through generations, such as myself, and actually Tara had that question. She doesn't know, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? What am I supposed to do with this ability? Well, I have it in generations of my family. It's been a gift that I've had my entire life, and yes, I am supposed to do something with that, but it doesn't mean that, Tara, you're supposed to do something with it, or anybody else is supposed to do something with it. We all have our own past. Are you supposed to? Maybe. Does it mean you're supposed to if you have the gift? No, it doesn't mean you're supposed to. My kids both have abilities, and they are not supposed to do anything with the gift. So it just depends. They're not interested in developing the gift. They have a very strong gift, but they're just not interested. Everybody's path is different. You know, so as we get to, yes, when I see people, I can read all their stuff, but I don't love to. I can't really shut that off. It's just how I am, but I can learn to ignore it. So Tara, as you begin to develop, and other people as you begin to develop, you absolutely can learn to ignore things that you don't want to necessarily deal with or hear. Like, for instance, she had mentioned hearing somebody scream in the middle of the night, and you know, having that startle her. You can learn to ignore those types of things. And really, this is going to sound weird, but I've had that happen. I woke up lots in the middle of the night I've heard kids in the middle of the night when it was like 30 below zero outside. It's crazy, and you just learn to go back to sleep. You know that they're not there. You can tell. You will learn to be able to. Spirits have a different tone to them. They have a different tone to their voice. So you will learn to be able to differentiate whether it is a tone that is a physical-based tone, or a tone that is in the spiritual dimension. And it looks like I don't have very many questions today, so I'm going to go ahead and log off. So thanks for joining. Oh, the last thing that I wanted to let you guys know is I had a very specific reason for posting the thing about are you doing your dream job? And we had a lot of comments to that. And a lot of people had said that they were not doing their dream job, and then they posted some things. For instance, Shauna Hill, I'd love to be a medium, love to help families. I also want to help spirits cross over. You can always hear stories. A lot of people said that they couldn't do their dream job because of money or family situations. You can always figure out a way to do your dream job, and it's very important to your spiritual aspect in raising your vibration. It doesn't mean you have to quit your family, source of income, the income that's bringing in the main source of income to your family. It means that you could do it on the side. You could develop the skill. For instance, I'm going to use Shauna again. Let's say she wants to be a medium, and she can learn for the next couple years to develop that skill while she's doing something else. I hear a lot of reasons of why people can't do what they do, but it's really important to your vibration. It's really important now more than you guys ever know, especially to your money energy and what you pull into your life, to start doing things that you enjoy. So it doesn't mean quit the main source of income, but try to figure out and learn how to add in something that you're very passionate about into your life and potentially turn that into a source of income. So Lindsay did ask, is there any jobs or careers that should be avoided? I'm wondering if a care job role is a bad idea. Lindsay, I don't know for what specifically you're talking about. I'm assuming that you're an empath or developing on a psychic level. Care jobs are really hard on empaths. Thank God we have people that do that, but they are incredibly hard on empaths because the people who you are caring for tend to pull energy from you, and they tend to need to pull because they're healing or they're confused and they're already in a state of not having strong energy anyways. People who are having health issues, who are sick, who are dying, who are in old folks homes or those sort of things, or at the end of their life, their energy is not strong. So when your energy is not strong, you will draw off of other people. It's just the way it is. They have a low battery. They are, if they're in a health or healing situation, it's not that they're just older and they've been here for a long time. If they're into where they're sick, then there's probably a lot of factors that fed into them being sick in the first place. A lot of energetic factors of their energy not being strong, of them misdirecting their energy, of them not being able to keep their own battery charged. They're keeping their own vibration raised, and again, they're going to latch onto you, and they're going to, kind of stick their energetic claws in you for help. And you can't teach people. So I would say I've had people ask this. I actually had a question of somebody asked, what do I do to teach people that is in my line of work a different way of thinking as far as energetic? You can't teach people who are not ready to learn energetic anything. You can't teach people to raise their vibration when they're not ready to learn. It's not going to happen. It's a waste of your time. And so, unfortunately, if you're caring for somebody, you're not in a good place to teach them to raise their vibration. So, for an empath, it's going to be extremely draining, and that's just not an awesome job to be doing as an empath. Again, thank God there's people that do it, and God bless them. But for an empath, you can, until you become a lot stronger and learn protection like to the umpteenth degree, that job is just not going to be as good as somebody who can stay more grounded in their physical body. Those people are not going to feel the same way as they're caring for people as an empath is, so it's not a good thing. Annie says, what if you have no clue what your dream job is? What does that do to your vibration? Well, it doesn't have to be a dream job per se. So, for instance, and Kristen, thank you. That's funny. So it doesn't have to be a dream job necessarily, but my whole point when I ask these questions is I want people to start paying more attention to how much that they're keeping their vibration raised. So, if you're doing something that you love or doing something that you enjoy, you're going to naturally raise your vibration. Any form of happiness is going to naturally raise your vibration to a high level. When you raise your vibration to a high level, what happens is you tap into a whole different law of attraction, energetic thing as far as money, relationships, love, everything. you start to vibrate on a different level. You bring different people into your life. And so my whole point was not necessarily, I guess I would say, a dream job. My whole point was pay more attention to how happy you are and how are you spending a lot of your time. How are you spending your time? Because most people, I find it very common that people are wasting a lot of their time doing things that they hate and that they are affecting their lives in a negative manner, and they're starting to, I see a domino effect. Money, health, love. I mean, it literally is a domino effect where it will start, one will roll to the other. Just think about it. If you are staying in an energetic space of feeling crappy, that's not going to then manifest into something good. It's going to manifest more crappy energy. So you begin to project crappy energy. The crappy energy begins to attach itself to the people around you. It attaches to your money situation. It attaches to all things attached to your life. You create your energetic environment. That's what you do. You are solely responsible for creating your energetic environment. So it would be a very good question for you guys who are watching the video to ask yourself, what type of energetic environment have I created? There's no wrong or right answer. You shouldn't feel bad about the question, but think about it. Have I created a positive, feel-good energetic environment, or do I feel drained, upset, irritated, agitated? How do I feel most of the day? And once you figure that out, you will probably be able to make a lot of correlations to how other things are going in your life. Relationships, love, money, they all correlate to this energetic environment that you have developed. So that's why I asked the question, and it's like I said, it's not necessarily important that you figure out what your dream job is, but it is important to figure out how happy you are 8 hours of your waking day. Like what gauge it. It's really important. So Kristen says, sorry, I have to move that down a little bit. You've mentioned about finding a mentor, mention a lot of things about learning more about our shift. I don't know where to start. I'm reading a lot of books, yours and others, but I almost want to find something local to be more around people like me. What do you recommend? That's an interesting question, because part of the reason that I developed this group was to bring a lot of people that were like-minded together. I've been in bigger cities and smaller cities that have groups. I think that there's, Kirsten, there might be, I think meetup.com. That sounds like a matchmaking site, but it's not. I'm pretty sure it's meetup.com. Maybe you guys know. They actually will say, hey, if you're interested in astrology, let's do a meetup at Starbucks or something, and let's talk astrology. So there's things that you can do like that. There's usually things in your city. If you have, Kristen, I don't know how big a city that you're in, but a lot of times I would say you'd have to be in 100,000 or more to start finding people who are interested in this kind of thing. Because the funny thing is, when you start going locally, people don't want to admit to practicing any psychic ability stuff. They don't want to admit to friends and family or anyone that they are interested in it because they're concerned about being judged. So when you start to go to a local level, it's harder for people to oh, it's St. Louis. Okay. It's harder for people to find people such as other people interested in psychic ability and that sort of thing. So it's really weird. They will open up on Facebook, groups like this a lot easier than they will basically in their own town. So what I would do if I was you in St. Louis is you could find some metaphysical shops. You can start searching your online stuff for people in St. Louis who do metaphysical talks or seminars or whatever, and you can start to go ask questions. Just stop into the shops, ask who they recommend, and do that sort of thing. Just kind of start networking in your area. The thing is, I also know, I've been in a lot of cities, not everybody has a positive vibe. Some people who are in the metaphysical industry, they decide that it's really weird and competitive when you get into the metaphysical industry. They like to know that they're the only ones that have certain information and that they're the only ones that can teach you certain stuff. And so they may, it's hard to find mentors anymore because They don't want to teach what they know. They're afraid of competition. They want to somehow be a level up above other people, and I'm finding that a lot. That's why I wanted to do that class, which I don't think that you're enrolled in, but that's why I'm going to start mentoring people, because I'm realizing that there are not enough mentors, and a lot of people are afraid of mentoring people, and I am not even closely afraid of mentoring people. I want to mentor all you guys and try to get your vibration raised and get your skill level better, and hopefully you guys can go out and be healers if you want to be, and you can, you know, use your energy to change your life however you want to change it, and that's really what I want to do. So as far as mentors, use your heart, use your gut when you meet somebody. Never, ever, and people do this all the time and it blows my mind, do not continue to learn or be taught by somebody who doesn't make you feel really good and empowered with your gift and makes you feel positive. So don't allow anybody to be talking down or being like, I know this and you don't know this, if they're not willing to share. Or, you know, feel good when you leave with a mentor. Feel like energized, not drained. Don't allow them to feel like they're teaching above you. That's not okay. And feel empowered, you know, feel good about who you connect with. That's the main thing, because again, unfortunately, in our industry, there's just not a ton of reputable mentors or even people in our industry. It's really weird, and this is a little bit off topic, but people in our industry like to use it for an ego boost. They like to be like, hey, I know this and I'm really good at this, and if you guys were ever to go to psychic fairs and some of you may have read in psychic fairs or done talks in psychic fairs, they get really competitive in psychic fairs or metaphysical fairs, and they get really catty, and they want, you know, more clients, or they want to know that they're better than so and so. It's very strange industry. And so use your heart and feel good about who you connect with. That's really, really the most important thing. So any other questions? I think I'm getting ready to go on to my next spirit chat. I may be doing one. I'm not sure yet if I have time. I may be doing one on my main page talking about the healers out there, because I have a lot of healers coming to me asking questions. So that actually may be another class that I'm going to do. I'm going to, I think, do a healing mentorship program where I get into talking more if it's a business that you want to get into, if like you want to get into psychic readings or mediumship or Reiki or whatever, and then actually teach the business end of it, because there's a lot more to becoming a healer than just having the healing skill, if I say. Thanks, Kristen. I'm glad it was helpful. Okay, you guys, thanks for joining in. Hopefully this is helpful. Michelle, you're very welcome. Don't forget, you guys, that I think there's only 4 days left. This is a beta class. It's a new class. It's a beta one. Once we run it again, the doors will be closed on the 23rd. I believe it's the 23rd. Once we run it again, the price is going to be a different price. So if you're on the fence, make sure you come in. Again, that's why I'm doing the classes, because I want to help you guys feel empowered with your gift. You know, I want you to feel good about it. I don't want you to feel drained. I don't want you to feel confused. I don't want you to feel bad, but it's really hard to teach extensive teaching over like these half-hour videos. So I want to get more into the nitty-gritty, help you figure out what your gifts are, help you learn how to develop it, help you learn how to feel strong and feel good and positive. So until next time, thank you for joining, and we'll see you again. Aloha.